So because I'm clearly a glutton for punishment, I've decided to throw myself back into the free races on this week's race room schedule. And on this occasion, it's the Alpine A110 Cup car at the short version of Portimao. Now, in my opinion, this is an absolute stinker of a layout, but it is what it is. And quite frankly, I actually believe that these free combinations are having the complete wrong effect for RaceRoom's online multiplayer. A lot of these races feel more like a fairground bumper car ride than they do an actual race simulation, but unfortunately, more often than not, these are the combinations that are always the most populated, so let's jump in and give it a go. But as always, before we get ourselves out on the track, if at any point you find yourself enjoying this video, please do remember to hit that like button because that really helps me out. And if you want to see more videos like this and support the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I would be incredibly grateful to you for doing that. Right, here we go. Alpine A10 Cup at Portimao, the short version. This is the third time I've tried this race, and every single one of them has been an absolute disaster, particularly the first corner. So we're just going to take it nice and easy, hang back. Someone's cut the track straight away. That guy's coming in too fast. I mean, there's just people everywhere. But we made... Oh, Jesus. You can't rejoin at that, so it just doesn't work. Oh, dear Lord, what is going on? Oh. Well, we survived without any damage, so that's a start. We're just going to lift out with this one because of reasons exactly like that. I said after the last free combination that I'd done, which was GTEs at Zhuhai. I think that's how you say that name. Could be wrong. That I wouldn't do any more of the free combinations because they're just a complete and utter shit show. But because I'm an idiot, I didn't take my own advice. Guy just pushed me from behind. And this is why I don't do them. And this is why I think that the free combinations actually need to go, to be honest with you. I can truly understand why KW Studios thought this would be a good idea, and I can like respect them for doing it, but I actually think at this point now it's the free race combos are just they're just so detrimental to the enjoyment of the online racing that it's having a complete reverse effect. What I just said made no sense. It did in my head. The problem that I have with these free combinations is because people haven't invested any money into this whatsoever, because RaceRoom is free to download and you don't have to pay a penny to race this. People race it with that kind of attitude. I've got nothing to lose, I'll just do what I want. Which just sort of sets the wrong tone, really. And if I was someone who, you know, I had a genuine interest in RaceRoom, but I wanted to try it out for free first just to see what it was all about, because it is free on Steam, and this was the first thing I tried in the ranked multiplayer, there's no way that I would be willing to invest any of my money into this. And it's not that the racing is bad, because the racing is actually really good. And the content is really good. But it's the quality of the racing. Like that rejoin from behind was just ludicrous. You know, it's the driving standards in these free events that is the problem. And if I was new to this and I was looking to potentially buy some content, this would put me off, because I would just think, well, I don't want to race. I don't want to race that like this. I would love to race RaceRoom a lot more, in all honesty, but I feel like they kind of make it a little bit difficult. Because once again, we've got DTM 2025 back on the schedule for the first time in, oh, I don't know, 7 days. Now, I can understand why it was on the schedule last week, because DTM happened at the Red Bull Ring last weekend. But to have it again on the schedule, not once, but twice, because not only is it on the 15-minute sprint race, it's also on the 30-minute feature race. So it's taking up 2 slots on the schedule after just being on the schedule last week. It's just crazy, honestly. It really is. I did the 2 hours of Imola on Saturday and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was absolutely fantastic. Honestly, it had to have been the most enjoyable race I'd had in RaceRoom for maybe ever, honestly. Track limits again. And it really made me think that I want to do more of this. I really want to drive more RaceRoom. But every day, or every week, sorry, not every day, every week when I check the rank schedule, it's lackluster, it's disappointing. And that's reflected in the numbers. The only racing that is ever really populated is the free one. And I don't know how they go about fixing that problem, but they need to find a solution, in my opinion. There needs to be something that they can do about it. Why people just aren't willing to invest more time or more money into RaceRoom. Because it's a genuinely very fun sim to play. And this A110 Cup car is it's so much fun to drive, and it's fun to race, but sadly it's not that fun to race with the people who are only racing it for free. And I think the reason for that is because there's no consequence to, you know, how they behave on track. If they're just racing it completely for free, why would they care if they got a ban? You know, what difference would it make to them? Like this kind of defending is just absolutely crazy to see. My word. I do genuinely believe that after this race, there's no more free races for me on RaceRoom, because it's just genuinely terrible. It really is terrible. RaceRoom's content is absolutely fantastic, but the way people behave in these free races is just... it's just a shame, honestly. It's a real shame. They could be doing some really fun and unique things with their content, but I don't think this format is working out in their favour, quite honestly. Also, this short version of Portimao is absolutely horrendous, has to be said. This is such a terrible circuit layout. I'd rather that they just put it on the full version, quite honestly. I think it would be a lot more enjoyable. I know that might result in fewer laps, but I think it might result in better racing, possibly. KW Studios have so much potential to turn RaceRoom into something genuinely fantastic. But between their continuous server issues and overall lack of creativity when it comes to putting on interesting combinations other than DTM 2025 at the Red Bull Ring, I think that's sadly going to be their downfall if they can't find something to attract more people. But I just don't think this is the way. I mean, I'm more than happy to be wrong, as I genuinely thought I was going to bang my head on that fence. I'm more than happy to be wrong on that point. But why is it that LMU is so popular with very limited content, but RaceRoom, with its vast library of different cars and different tracks, struggles to break 1,500 peak players through the week? You know, something is evidently not right. In my opinion, it's just the fact that the schedule is just too repetitive. I think the value that RaceRoom offers is honestly, it's fantastic. It's got the same sort of content variety that iRacing has got. It just hasn't got the players, and it doesn't have a schedule either. Sorry, not a schedule, a subscription. I'm having such a good time, I obviously can't think straight. It requires no subscription to play online. The online racing pack at the moment, in the UK, if you don't already own it, I believe is £23. And it comes with a huge stack of cars and 27 tracks or something. The value is insane. It's insane value. So I'm genuinely curious to know why more people aren't interested in playing it. It looks great. The force feedback is a little bit lacking, I have to say. As I've said in the past, I think it could be a bit more dynamic, a bit more detailed. You know, if you turn up the bump amplification, there's something there, but the best way I can describe the force feedback feeling for me is that it just kind of feels like you're constantly pulling like an elastic band. It's missing some of the excitement that like something like LMU brings with its force feedback, especially with the FFBR. I will say that of the 3 races I've done of this combination, this has been the cleanest, which I know is hard to say. Or hard to believe, not hard to say. Why can't I speak English today? What's wrong with me? Yeah, it's hard to believe that we've gone from the very back of the grid up to P9 and barely even made an overtake. We've just inherited them all. Can we snatch P8 before the end? He's close, but we don't have long left in which to do it. Something that I think that RaceRoom could possibly look into as far as the schedule goes is, you know, taking a leaf out of the iRacing sort of book, and instead of just picking random things every week, turn it into like a season. I know you don't necessarily get anything at the end of it, but it kind of creates the sense that you're actually working towards something. You're progressing your way towards a goal. it also, as well, if the schedule was set out at the beginning of the season, it might help to convert more sales for tracks or cars. You know, maybe 60% of the season could use the online racing pack, and there's a couple of others that you have to buy. Well, there's P8 anyway, which was just had gifted to us. So yeah, a season type approach might make things a bit more interesting. Maybe the DTM races could actually follow the season and you accrue points in the same way. I'm sure that's probably already a thing and I'm just missing it somewhere. But I'm sure there's a lot more content that they could do that with. You know, A10 Cup, Porsche Cup. All different kinds of racing series that they could turn into a season's worth of racing. Maybe that's rotated every season. I'll take the track limit, I really don't care. I'm just collecting them at this point. So yeah, not a bad result in the end from the very back of the grid. A P8, we'll happily take that. But I wouldn't recommend the combo.